This week on the Rutledge Perspective, I want you to consider what it is that you really want, and if that is really aligned with how you feel and what you feel your purpose is. And this stemmed from the fact that I finally did some more learning for me this last weekend. I was able to go to Blackpod Fest in Atlanta, Georgia, and met some incredible podcasters and got some really great information. And it also brought up some really good questions. And I think these questions are ones that apply to all of us, whether you're podcasting, whether you're in a company, whether you're running your own business. This whole idea of, here's what I say I want, but as I go get more information and really think through what that means, does that really align with what I say overall the goal is? And we talk a lot on this podcast and on the radio show and on Fireside about really knowing who you are and where you are, but then understanding what it is you want and what it's going to take to get there. And so as I attended this festival, which was phenomenal, I hopefully next year they'll be able to record all the sessions because there were so many that I wanted to go to, and I would love to be able to hear all of them. There was one in particular that talked about, actually there were several, but they were talking about sponsorship and growth and whether or not you join podcast networks, those kinds of things. And, I started this podcast, one, because someone said, you should start a podcast. And I thought, okay. So I started the podcast, but I also started the podcast as an entry to the business. I didn't start the podcast to be the thing, right? It was just going to be an opportunity to connect with people, to connect with all of you, and to really understand the things that were top of mind for you, knowing with my experience, my 30 years in corporate, the things that came up that were real pain points and aha moments for people. And that's why I started it, really to be a lead-in for the other pieces of the business. But as I've gotten into the podcast and into the radio show and now the Fireside show, this time that I get to spend with all of you around these issues that get so buried in the day-to-day, just trying to survive, just trying to get through the corporate madness, trying to get through the drama, it has become more and more a piece of incredible content that I want to deliver to you guys, a part of my real service model. So I'm sitting in these sessions and they start talking about, how many downloads you have to have and how you should show up and whether or not, you go pitch to somebody your podcast and whether you join a network. And one person on a panel specifically said, people come to me all the time and say, hey, would you look at my podcast? And all I can think is, well, I wish you'd come to me before you did it. And so, then we could have done it better or something like that. It was kind of snarky, but his point was taken, but it was just, not everybody resonates with everybody. And so it got me to thinking, because I do have some corporate targets for sure that I would love to partner with, brand partners for sure, for a number of reasons. And I'm working on those things behind the scenes. So hopefully you'll see those come to fruition soon. But it got me to thinking, and I want you to consider this too. The first thing we have in our mind about what we want and the plans we start to make to get there, do we allow enough room in those plans, in those goals, to have additional information come to us later that either solidifies or modifies or completely changes our perspective on what it is we want, maybe changes the trajectory of the goal? In some cases, may change the goal completely. There were a number of people who said, yeah, I'm not going to worry anymore about getting on, Sirius or NPR or whatever. There were several podcasters who were like, yeah, that's just not my thing. Or I'm going to develop my own network. I'm not going to go be on somebody else's network. There were aha moments for everyone. The one that hit me though was, having to have 100,000 downloads, which a couple of these platforms were like, we only talk to you at 80,000, or for this platform, it's really 100,000 downloads. Is that really the goal that I have? Now, I was really excited to learn that the Rutledge Perspective podcast is actually one of the top 10 global podcasts. I'll be posting about that. I am honored and thrilled that you guys spend time with me and choose to listen and choose to download and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. But is the ultimate goal to get 80,000 downloads or 100,000 downloads, or to have 1 million downloads and 1 million followers, to be, the big fish in the podcast pond? It really isn't. I had to really think about that. The goal isn't a download goal for me. The goal is reach. The goal is impact. And while the number of downloads may enable you to open some doors that can increase your impact for sure, right? The bigger your podcast is, the more people hear about it, the more people know about you. Absolutely. I am not negating that at all. However, are you chasing the download or are you chasing the impact? And if you're making the impact that you want to make, do the downloads really matter? And so how that translates for you is, as you're building your business or you're building your career, is it really the job title, or is it the impact and influence that you can have on the organization or the teams that you are building? Is it the leaders that you can develop, right? The future leaders, the legacy you're going to leave for that organization through the leaders you've built, the culture that you've built, right? What is it that is the real why of the goal? And is that thing just a manifestation or one indicator, one data point of your impact, or is it the thing? And don't get me wrong, there are people who are truly chasing the job title. They are chasing the 7-figure business so they can say, I'm a 7-figure business owner, right? I'm in the top 2% of 7-figure business owners, because most people don't make it to 7 figures. There are people who are really chasing the numbers. And it takes all kinds. That's why I call it the Rutledge perspective, right? There are people who are really chasing the number. But is that aligned with who you are? And what's so important about that too today is today starts the alignment series, the free 5-day series with Laurel Rutledge. It's called Activated Alignment. And everything just happens to align all the time for these things that are coming up. It's how I know I'm in the sweet spot of where I'm supposed to be. And I want you to know you're in your sweet spot. And that takes some time to marinate and a willingness to be open to additional information that says, maybe I need to make a slight adjustment. Maybe I need to shift a little bit. Or as my friend Janice Sutherland says, maybe I need to make a swerve here. And it's not a full pivot. Y'all know how I feel about that word pivot. But sometimes you need to just make an adjustment, or not even an adjustment. You just need to pause a minute and say, wait, okay, I'm getting all this information. I'm really excited about it, because that's what happened to me. I got so excited about all this information. I have this tons long to-do list now. But I had to make myself wait at the end. I was having lunch with some of the ladies I met, and I said, I need to really marinate on, why am I doing this, and where is this impact that I want? Because yes, there are some partnerships and some brand partnerships I want to make happen, but I want to make them happen because of the impact those brand partnerships bring along. So how do I make sure that I am positioning so that those brand partnerships are viable options, as opposed to, I just want to be on a certain list, or I just want to have a certain number of downloads. And for me, while I do the shout outs, and you're going to see a shout out this week, we had to do a little bit different radio show last week, but you'll see a shout out for the podcast and the radio show and Fireside. I do those because I truly am appreciative that you guys show up. I am so thrilled and so excited that my message is reaching around the globe, that no one is going to come in contact with me and think they're crazy. Right? They're going to know, you are going to know that you have a choice. You are going to know that you have the ability to get aligned and be confident in who you are and where you are, and get clear on what you want and move into empowered action to get it. That's the whole point of everything that I'm doing. And so it was such a powerful thing to actually do some learning for me that I haven't done in so long. And I am committed to do that on a more regular basis and to meet some great people, which was a big deal for me because y'all know my energy, and that whole chit chat thing doesn't work for me. But I met some incredible women, some of whom are local to me, which is great. So we're going to start doing some things and collaborating. But I want you this week to really consider what it is that you really want and why are you doing the thing? Why are you chasing the thing? Are you chasing the title because of the title? Are you chasing the title because of the impact? Are you chasing the title because of the breadth that it gives you, the ability to do something else? What's the why of the thing that you're doing? And does that still make sense in the overall goal? Because sometimes we get focused on the mini goals and we forget what is the ultimate outcome we're trying to drive. What is the ultimate thing that we're trying to do? So as you move into this week and move into the summer, kids have graduated, going into the summer. Some may be going to summer school, doing summer experiences. Parents, it's time for you to take some time, think about the summer vacation. It's just a time to kind of rest and regroup and take some space and take a minute. And I encourage you during that time to really consider, before you move into the fall, right? Before we move into this next quarter, right? We're moving into the second half of the year. Take some time to really consider for these next 6 months, what is it that you are really looking to do? What is the real goal, the real outcome that you are trying to make happen? And is your action that you're taking aligned with that? And even deeper, is this thing you're pursuing aligned with who you are and where you are and what you want? And are you taking the right steps to get it? It was a really, really great conference. And for those of you who are podcasters listening to me, I really encourage you to find a podcast festival and go. Sit with other folks who are in various stages of their podcasting journey. Some have been doing it since podcasts have been out there. Some are just starting. Some don't even have theirs yet. And get some expert advice, get some insight, get some varied insight, because there were a number of people talking about data and talking about posting, and they had very different opinions. So feed yourself with information. Go sit at the feet of those people who are where you want to be, and open your mind and your heart to those things you really want, so you can receive feedback, receive input, receive understanding about how you want to develop, how you want to move forward. And if that thing that you're going after really is the thing, or is it something deeper than the thing? Because if you focus on the thing, then people can really get you tied up in doing a lot of stuff that really doesn't get you ultimately where you want to go. So this week, do some pausing and some considering. Do some really great marinating. And let me know what you come up with. I'm really interested to know what things came up for you as you reconsidered where you're spending your energy, where you're spending your time, and where you're spending all the rest of your resources. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, if you would, take the time to do a 5-star review. It really does matter, and it helps with reach and helps me make an even bigger impact. And send me a note, send me a DM. I'm on social media, and let me know what you would like to talk about. And if there's something specific that touched you or that you would like to hear more about. And then join me on the radio show Tuesday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Time. You can find it on my Facebook page, facebook.com at The Rutledge Perspective. That's the page. It'll go live 10 a.m. Central Time every Tuesday. You can find me there. You can also find it on kcohtvradio.com, their page, as well as Jerry P. Beasley's Facebook page. So you can find me everywhere. And then join me live on Fireside on Thursday nights. That's a time where we can actually engage together. You can jump on video, you can jump on audio, ask some questions, jump in the conversation. I would love to meet you. And I'm going to start adding some shows at different times so that I can reach all of you globally. So thank you so much for your time. I always enjoy it and always enjoy being able to just give you a little bit of a boost. Have a great week. Take some consideration. Take some time to marinate. Make sure you're aligned. Remember, you always have a choice. See you next time. Bye-bye. You have been listening to the Rutledge Perspective podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and for connecting. You can find previous episodes of the podcast on my website at laurelrutledge.com/podcast. You can also find me on social media at Laurel K. Rutledge and/or The Rutledge Perspective. And I'd love your perspective on the things we talk about. And if there's a specific topic you want me to cover, just let me know. And please share this podcast with someone in your village who may need this little piece of perspective today. And if you're so inclined, I would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review on the platform of your choice. Apple Podcasts and Spotify reviews are particularly helpful. Thank you again for listening. Take care.